Yo, yo, streaming. Don't give it up, Animax streaming. Don't give it up, Nuxie streaming. Don't give it up, Rico streaming. Don't give it up. Here's how the story goes. We find out about a manga and Shonen Jump. There's no doubt the virgin whose eyes is on it, he'll sing. I'll be king of the virgins. I'm gonna be king. Yo, ho.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Animac here from Anime Uproar, and welcome to a brand new episode of the One Piece Virgin. Today, we're recording a day earlier in order to accommodate Nux because he couldn't make it on the Tuesday, and he really wanted to be here because we're going to be covering the Jaya arc, which is chapters 218 through 236. And then for next week, we're going to be entering Skypiea and covering chapters 237 to 259. Joining me today,
including 259, until and including 259.
Okay. And joining me today, we have Briggs and Nux.
Nux and Briggs!
Briggs and Nux! Okay,
Did I confuse you? Did I confuse you by switching the order, bro?
Not even a little, but I do appreciate the energy that you're emitting, Animac. You're in a chaotic mood. I'm happy.
I know you thrive on chaos, Nux.
You like some chaos. All right, speaking of chaos, we got introduced to two of the greatest antagonists in One Piece in this very arc. Okay, Animac, you're the virgin. Take it away.
Well, I certainly hope you don't mean Bellamy.
Bella freaking me! The man, I love Bellamy. All right, Animac, start off strong.
Was that sarcastic? Bellamy the hyena? Like, was this sarcasm?
Bellamy the hyena, this beautiful man. And Animac just he stomps on Bellamy before me. How can you even do something like this? He's truly a fantastic antagonist. I think you should start. Start the beginning of the Jaya arc. We're entering a new saga.
Yeah, so this arc really was cool because it had great world building that I really loved, and it had some interesting philosophy. Bellamy is part of that battle of philosophies that happens.
Oh, yes!
So I will talk about that.
Every time I think of Bellamy, okay, I'm going to have to calm down a little bit, guys.
Briggs, he's being sarcastic, right?
I think he actually likes him. A lot.
What?
Like,
unironically.
Just remember the Animac, every single character you meet always comes
Bellamy
back.
is
like,
dude,
bro,
this
can
man
you stop talking about this loser? We met Blackbeard and Whitebeard, and we saw Mihawk again, and a young man called Doflamingo, whose fucking previous bounty was 340 million, bro. And you're talking about some Bellamy?
Bellamy! Man, I cannot get over how amazing of an antagonist.
Okay,
Bellamy
now that I remember that. No, I know you're being sarcastic. Fuck you. Anyway, now that I realize how many new characters we met, I knew you were being sarcastic. So, moving on.
Actually, like, if you want me to be completely frank with you, while Doflamingo, I think, is probably one of the 10 greatest anime villains of all time, you don't really get to witness his greatness in this arc. Blackbeard, I think, is a fantastic antagonist, and you'll see more of him, as I'm sure you know. That's not a spoiler. Shut up, people.
Yeah, Blackbeard's been mentioned in, we'll get into that after, but it's been mentioned in Drum Island and in Alabasta multiple times.
Yeah. And what I love about it is his first meeting with them, you don't actually know it's Blackbeard.
Okay, let's actually start from the beginning. Let's get on topic. The first chapter we read is when Robin joins the crew. Because remember last week
yes.
The chapter ended with Robin like kind of showing up on the ship and her saying that she's gonna join the crew, and it ends with a panel of like Luffy saying "what?" and freaking out, and then this chapter starts.
Yeah. So then, actually, if you recall in the last episode, I kind of talked about how I didn't know why Luffy was able to recover from that poison, because during the fight, Crocodile actually poisoned him, but then he ended up being fine. And I was like, what happened there? It would have been cooler if Luffy needed someone else's help to win the fight. Kind of that would have made it better for me. But it turns out that actually we get a flashback in the very next chapter, and it turns out that Robin had the antidote ready, and she was the one that helped Luffy recover from the poison. And then he actually saved her because she was kind of like, I don't care if I live anymore. I'm sick of this. And he ended up saving her. So because he saved her, she comes on the ship and she's like, I wanted to die. You made me live. Now you have to let me join the crew, which was cool. And the whole Robin thing, she actually says that for 20 years, she has been searching through these poneglyphs, right? She's been searching for the secret history of the world. And I thought that was really interesting. And she admits that she totally lied to Crocodile because the poneglyph today we're reading was all about Pluton, that weapon that Crocodile wanted.
Yeah.
But she couldn't allow Crocodile to get the weapon, so she lied to him. However, even though she did that, she was devastated that she didn't find the information that she's been looking for 20 years about the secret history of the world, and she was ready to give up on life, but then Luffy saved her, so now she's still there and kicking and wants to join the crew. But this whole idea just kind of kickstarts the world building that happens in the Jaya arc.
Oh, baby!
And it really...
World building, boys!
Yes, and it really makes me intrigued to know about this secret history, what's going on. And we got a glimpse of the world government in this arc and everything. So yeah, lots to talk about, guys.
Yeah. And I guess part of the reason why she didn't want to live was because that was her final lead. Like, she didn't really know any other poneglyphs, and she had no other leads, and she was kind of just given up. She had been searching for 20 years, on the run for 20 years, finally finds one, and it ends up not having the history that she desires, but rather just some stupid weapon. Which is funny because Crocodile, all he cares about the weapon, while Robin, all she cares about is the lost history.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is we don't really get to know anything about this history. Like, why is there a secret history? What exactly is she talking about? It's not revealed, but it's such a tease, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, why would she be so into this? Why is she so interested in this specific thing? What is the mystery?
And then they start making their way to the next island, and out of nowhere, the log post starts pointing straight up, and Nami thinks it's broken.
Yes. So that was crazy. They think it's broken, but then like a massive ship just falls from the sky, and it's like a 200-year-old ship. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? And apparently, there is a mysterious island in the sky called Skypiea that they think about going to, but at first everyone's like, that's a joke, that doesn't exist, it's just a myth.
Oh, is Skypiea even real?
Yeah, exactly. So the big debate in the arc
we will never know.
Is Skypiea even real? But obviously as the arc develops, we learn that Skypiea is real. There are maps of it.
Who doesn't believe in Skypiea being real though, bro?
Yeah. Bellamy or whatever his name.
Me, the Chad antagonist of the One Piece story. Man, every time I think of this bro, it just fills me with resentment of this cruel person.
Yep. So it's funny because on the ship, like Nami and some of the guys don't even they don't believe in this island, while Robin and obviously Luffy, being very naive, is like they're kind of all for it, and Robin tries to convince them that the log pose is never wrong. If it's pointing to the sky, then there's an island there. So they go to Jaya in search of information about this island because they have no idea how to get there. Luffy's all like, yeah, let's go on this adventure, but like, how are they going to get to the sky? And that's where they run into Bellamy in the bar.
This is the beauty of One Piece, right? Like, this is something impossible. Something impossible happened before their very eyes. And the immediate reaction to this impossibility of the ship falling out of the sky, bro, Luffy's all for it. He's like, no problem. No dream too big. I can do this. Let's go to an island floating in the sky. And the other people, some of them are like, bro, this is not real. The log pose is pointing up, but islands can't fly, bro. Yeah,
it was Nami and Usopp mainly that were kind of against it, which are like the normal people of the crew, while Luffy and Zoro, well, Zoro didn't really have an opinion. He's just kind of chilling.
Yeah, Zoro's never
working out in the background, doing his thing.
No, so the cool thing about Robin, what she said, I really liked it. She said that there will always be an island wherever the needle points, and you should doubt your senses on the Grand Line, but never the log pose.
Yep.
So all of logic right now is going against their dream of following the log pose and reaching the Sky Island. When you see antagonists in One Piece, most of them are coming from a more political standpoint, from a personal standpoint. I mean, the antagonists we met so far, right? You have Arlong. He was coming from a racial standpoint. You had someone like
Crocodile.
He was coming from, he was power hungry. He was
So when you look at every antagonist, they obviously reflect the protagonist, because that's every good antagonist. Unlike Deku in My Hero Academia, is not reflected by any antagonist. But not the point. Not the point.
Luffy doesn't care about any. Doesn't care who you are.
Luffy,
against Arlong. What's it called?
About
Luffy
race.
has no desire for power, unlike Crocodile. And now we get the Bellamy. Go ahead, Nuxie boy.
So every single antagonist you see in the entire series so far reflects Luffy's ideals in such a beautiful light, and Blackbeard does too, but that's mostly in the future. This arc, this antagonist, this beautiful boy, Bellamy, this man is the only antagonist in all of One Piece that says your dreams don't exist, your dreams will die. A huge theme in One Piece is believing in this idea of dreams, is always searching. It's true, the log poses pointed up. So the dream is you follow the log pose and you keep going. But in the end of the day, that's impossible. So can you follow your dreams or not? And that's when Bellamy comes in. Bellamy is the antagonist to the dream ideal of One Piece. And that's why, despite being a jackass that's annihilated so easily, because this is the easiest antagonist in the entire series to shatter, an antagonist against dreams, when that is something so crucial to every single person in the Straw Hat crew who has their own dream. He's someone that could just immediately be swept under the rug, but he's not someone that is forgotten.
Beautiful. Also, Anima, I just want to say, well, how did you feel about the first bar scene with Bellamy kind of kicking Luffy and Zoro's ass?
Yeah, I wasn't sure why they let him beat them up, right? Because obviously Luffy later shows that he can kick Bellamy's ass. So I wasn't sure why they actually let this happen. I get the whole idea of it's not worth it, but I feel like Bellamy and them went pretty far.
They did go decently far. Does it remind you of a certain different scene?
Yes, it reminds me of the Shanks scene at the beginning. But again, the guy was they spit on Shanks and whatever, and he's like, whatever, you humiliated me, I don't care about that. But these guys whipped their ass, so I was kind of bruh. Even Nami was like, dude, kick his ass. I told you not to fight.
This is another reason why, because as much as I respect Luffy for his composure in that scene, mad respect to Zoro. Because if it was up to Zoro, Zoro would have had no problem annihilating everyone in the bar, no problem.
Yep.
But because of his respect for his captain, he didn't. It wasn't his ideals that stopped him. It was Luffy's and his respect.
I thought you were going to say mad respect to Bellamy.
Oh, Bellamy, this beautiful beast. Okay, anyway, I gave you my Bellamy part. That's one of the major reasons why I wanted to be in this episode, because no one respects Bellamy, and I would argue no one understands Bellamy.
Oh. Anyway, the thing about Bellamy is I did like this philosophical fight, because here you have Luffy talking about the golden age of pirates, which is full of he's dreaming about this golden age of pirates, which is full of these myths like the island in the sky, like the One Piece, like the city of gold, El Dorado, which we talk about with the Nolan the Liar and stuff later on in the arc. And Bellamy represents this very hardcore, ruthless, realist, new age of pirates, where he's like, hey, this isn't about adventure. This isn't about achieving your dreams. This is about getting money, getting power. That's what being a pirate is. It's about strength. Might makes right. If I'm stronger than you, your treasure belongs to me. If I'm stronger than you, I take what I want. It's not about your dreams. Screw all that. All of that is meaningless.
There's nothing that Bellamy loves more than stealing treasure from pirates who just went on an epic adventure or something, because he doesn't care about the adventure. He just stole everything from them. Their dreams, their adventure, and their treasure.
In the words of Rick, heists are about the stuff, not the stealing.
Yeah. And the thing is, it kind of reflects a big philosophical shift in our society as well, because before the so-called scientific age and the Enlightenment, people believed in magic and miracles and all sorts of stuff. And then when science became the main thing, a lot of people became too scientific in the sense that they closed their minds off to everything that they couldn't explain with science. They said was impossible. So they limited themselves and enclosed themselves within those boxes of what's possible and what isn't. So even though science has given us a lot of good, philosophically it often limits us, and it limits our dreams because it says this is possible and this isn't. This is scientific and this is a delusion or whatever. And I think that this whole adventure aspect of piracy that Luffy embraces and the dreams kind of brings it back to this more idealistic view of the world as opposed to the strictly pragmatic and realistic world that Bellamy and people like him have.
So how do you not like Bellamy as an antagonist?
I mean, I don't like him as a person. I think he's a douche. I mean,
Adam Mack, you think he's a douche? He's an amazing antagonist, though, bro.
Well, I would say that if Luffy didn't knock him out in one punch, at the end.
That's just part of the beauty. I mean, I'd like to say that that's one of the reasons why I think that the bounty system is so great as opposed to like power levels. Like you saw how Bellamy was looking down on him because he had a lower bounty. And then after he gets the snot beaten out of him in one punch, which was freaking badass in the anime, by the way.
It was.
Then he sees his new bounty and he's like, no.
Yeah, so that was interesting. That's one thing I wrote down is Luffy doesn't realize that his bounty is 100 million. He still thinks it's 30 at the beginning of the arc. And then everyone else think it's 30 as well. But then eventually they realize it's 100 and all of a sudden people are like afraid of him and shit. They're like, what? Just because of the bounty. And Bellamy tries to be like, that's just a piece of paper. It could be fake. But then he goes hopping around the buildings and gets one-shotted by Luffy. So I guess the reason I don't respect Bellamy more as a villain is just that he got one-shotted after talking so much smack. As opposed to, a villain that had like epic fights and showed a lot of power.
Someone with an ideology like that's not a prevalent antagonistic theme in the whole series. That's one of the things I like about One Piece. Like, if you look at most of the antagonists, they all share the same basic view of the world that Luffy does, which makes them so great as far as a powerful force that they're against. So, being that he was beautifully one-shotted, I think that mirrors how irrelevant his ideals actually were.
And how much stronger Luffy's dreams were, and how much he cares about his friends. So in the first scene, when Bellamy kind of like laughs at the dream, there was really no reason to fight because he was like Luffy, this dreamer, thinks this guy's like irrelevant at that point. He's like laughing at Sky Island. It's like, well, it hasn't been proven false yet, right? Like you can't prove that it doesn't exist. And then a little bit of spitting some water on him and roughing the guy up they had no reason to actually fight other than just to like make a show in the bar and just for fun, really. And so like that's why it's a reflection of Shanks, the scene in the beginning, because there's really no reason to fight. Why are we gonna fight?
Yeah, you're gonna fight so you don't get your face bashed in. I was gonna say
they did take it a little bit far, right?
Yeah, because it's like, bro, if you're gonna get super injured, like in real life, not in One Piece clearly, but in real life, if you get super injured, like that's gonna fuck up your adventure for about 6 months.
So the problem is, if they did fight back and make a huge fest in the town, they probably wouldn't be able to get information. So I guess they're prioritizing their dreams over some useless fight over this with random guy who doesn't believe in dreams.
Yeah, I would have preferred it if it was just kind of, let's say mock them or they kind of spit in them or whatever. But like you're doing so much physical damage and they're still like, oh, it's cool.
Yeah,
that was a bit much. But I mean, I get the point. I get the point.
Also, speaking of mocking, do you know what town they're in?
Mocktown.
Yes.
Mocktown. So so that is a interesting thing that I thought about. When they went to Jaya, the island, they go to this town which is basically like a free-for-all resort for pirates. And as soon as they get there, like pirates are just like knocking each other out, fighting, gambling. Just it's the biggest like free-for-all on the 7 seas or however many seas there are in One Piece. I don't know. But I thought that was like an interesting concept. Like that is where all the badass pirates go to, interact with each other in the most lawless, insane, aggressive way possible.
And it's funny how they still respect the people who like work in the town, the civilians, because like, what's the point of having this town if we have nowhere to like buy food and stuff?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
was
exactly.
this part in the manga? I mean, I mentioned this to Briggs during the week. I showed him the clip in the anime. It's like Nami says to Luffy and Zoro as they're walking away.
Yes,
is it in the manga?
We'll get to that in a second. So prior to Bellamy versus or like Luffy and them in the
we
bar,
got to talk about a certain individual that Luffy met.
Yeah, Luffy meets a certain individual that we now know to be Blackbeard. We didn't know it at this time, but at the end of this arc, we do find out his name. They're both at the bar. They're both ordering like cherry pies. Luffy thinks it's terrible. Blackbeard thinks it's amazing. And then with the liquor or whatever they were drinking, Luffy thinks it's amazing. Blackbeard thinks it's terrible. So already they're completely contrasting.
Foreshadowing their goddamn opposites.
They're goddamn opposites. And like you said earlier, Luffy always contrasts antagonists.
Listen to here's the beauty though. As far as the grander ideals of the world, he completely disagrees with Bellamy, but he agrees with Blackbeard on the fundamentals of what is and what isn't. So they both ordered the same food. The only difference is their perception of what the truth is after they understand the ideals. So they're grounded as similar characters, but are still absolute opposites when it comes to the execution.
Yep.
Boom!
Dude, me and Nux fanboy over Blackbeard so hard. Nux or Adamak, did you notice that after Blackbeard leaves the bar, his opinion on the liquor or drink that he was drinking changes? He says afterwards that wow, this liquor tastes good, but in the bar it tasted horrible.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I did not notice that aspect. I did notice that they had opposite tastes, and I thought it was funny because they kept like one of them kept criticizing either the drinks or the food, and the other one would be like, "Oh, sorry" to the bartender, and he's like, "Bro, I don't care. I'm not the cook." I thought that was a funny random thing. He's like, "I don't care. I'm not the cook."
So that's like just Oda god tier humor as well. But at the end of the day, I love Blackbeard so much. He's such an amazing antagonist. I actually made a No One Understands Blackbeard video back in the day.
But did you make a No One Understands Food in One Piece video?
Yet. And that'll be after Zoro. But anyway, so then Briggs.
Then as they walk out the bar, Blackbeard congratulates them on winning the fight. The fight for, like, I guess their dreams, because he's not going to fight that pointless battle. And then he says, "Z ha ha ha! A man's dream!" Mugiwara! Well, I guess he didn't know he was Straw Hat just yet.
He didn't say Mugiwara. Anyway, and then they're walking away, and Nami walks after them. This scene is so good.
A man's dream will never die. He says that first, and then go ahead. Nux.
Bro, because, again, they agree on the fundamentals. I love Blackbeard as an antagonist. Look how he mirrors Luffy so well. Like, oh. Anyway.
And also, us saying he's an antagonist is not a spoiler. At the end of this arc, we find out he's an antagonist.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
And we also knew, because we knew from before that Ace was after Blackbeard because Blackbeard betrayed the Whitebeard pirates. So I do recall that from a previous. I think the first part of Alabasta, we learned that. One thing I will say though, there was a weird moment.
Hold on. I'm still in the same this train of thought here, dude.
No, I am too. There was a weird moment with Blackbeard after they leave the bar, where I think it's Zoro or someone that says, "That guy's not alone."
That's not what he says. But I can tell you what. So Nami runs after them, and Nami's like, "Yo, why didn't you ask him about Sky Island?" And they're like, No, that's not a him. It's a them.
Yeah, that part I didn't get.
It's not he, it's they.
Yeah, it was something like that, and that part I didn't get because he was like standing alone, but they were saying that guy's not alone.
Although, so we do find out who's like part of his crew a little bit later on in this arc, and all those characters were introduced at the beginning of Jaya just fucking around in the town. You have the one guy on the horse who gives like apples that blow up to Luffy, and Luffy's lucky and grabs the right one. You got the champion brawler that's literally just fucking people up.
We had that sniper guy who was just shooting seagulls for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so all of them.
There was also, what was that line? Didn't Ace have one of those lines as well when Ace was talking about Blackbeard? Line in Alabasta when he's telling them about Blackbeard, like he has a them type line, doesn't he?
I'm not sure. I don't remember that. But I think we should probably leave it at that, Nux.
This is not spoiling anything at all, okay?
I know.
Thank you, Professor Krieger, for 500 magical crystals.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so let me talk about, for one thing, just like a random thing that I want to read. this is at chapter 225, one of the question corners. And the question is to Oda, when Mrs. Doublefinger uses her spike fruit powers, how come it doesn't rip her clothing to pieces? And this is what Oda says. What? Are you suggesting she shred her outfit with her spikes? Sorry, but this isn't that kind of manga. And if I were to draw that, I'd put it on the cover. Can you imagine how embarrassed people would be if they saw something like that on the cover? Should I do it? That was his answer.
What a beautiful man.
That to me is gets my respect. That gets my respect, that type of stuff. Because I noticed that Miss Doublefinger is a gem. And Oda knows it too.
That's such an Oda. Oh my god, I love him. He's so good. But anyway, so that's the introduction to Blackbeard right there. And I like how it's also like they introduce Bellamy and Blackbeard at the same time. One of them is someone that's easily defeated and someone who opposes Luffy to his core. And then there's Blackbeard, who, well, is not defeated.
Easily.
And, well,
one thing I thought was really hilarious, and I will, just for Silent Angel, thank you for 500 magical crystals. I thought it was hilarious that, so Blackbeard is built up for quite a while. We had the whole Ace moment where Ace is after him. We had the whole Jaya stuff, and we had his, I don't know if it was his first mate or one of his men, Lafitte went to the world government to say that Blackbeard should become the next warlord. So clearly he's being built up. And then at the end of this arc, as he's like, we're going to go get Luffy and get his bounty to grow our reputation, they get blown away and they fail because Luffy and the crew go up on the upstream or whatever it's called towards Skypiea. So I thought that was hilarious because they're building Blackbeard as this great villain, and then he fucking flops.
Did they mention Blackbeard's name yet?
Yeah, Edward motherfucking Teach, I believe is the word.
No. Edward is Whitebeard.
I think they had the name.
Edward Newgate is Whitebeard.
Oh,
they showed all their.
Marshall. Wait, let me.
Marshall what?
Marshall
D. Teach.
So he was a D. He was also a D.
He was a D.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and Whitebeard was Edward Newgate, right?
Yeah. They
Without
had the scene with Blackbeard. They had Blackbeard and his crew all next to each other, and they had like a caption box of all their like actual names.
Yeah, I would just want to say, Mihawk had the greatest intro until Edward Newgate, bro.
Yeah.
Did you see that? I mean, I would put them both equal amazingness. But Edward Newgate, bro, he's this huge dude, the strongest man alive, chilling there with a bunch of sexy nurses just tending to him. I was like, yes. I was like, this is my dude right here. Just harem of sexy nurses tending to him. He's got like all this like medical shit on him, but he's still looks badass. Wow.
Did we see Shanks as well?
Yes, Shanks was shown on some winter island because he was trying to get a message to Whitebeard, and then Whitebeard was like, if he has a message for me, he needs to come here and see me himself. And then I stopped paying attention because of the nurses. But later, then Shanks is like, fine, I'll go find him myself.
We have Mumkey in the chat. Mumkey Jones, also known as Simmy and Jimmy. Mad Lad pops in to say Nux and Briggs!
Nux and Briggs!
Nux.
So speaking of Mad Lads, or in this case,
I'm going to get him in the call.
Lads,
Can I get him in the call?
Get him in the call? Absolutely, if you want to. It's fine.
Yeah,
I don't know, like, we're almost through the thing. If you want
right into the call.
It's going to mess up all our...
Tell us your thoughts.
Okay, well, I covered most of this stuff.
Well, we haven't talked about the Chad lads. Mont Blanc, D. Nolan,
yes,
and Cricket. I don't know their names, honestly.
The Monkey Boys.
Monkey Boys. Really talking about Mont Blanc. And it's Mont Blanc. It's not Mont Blanc, Briggs.
Blanc. D. Cricket.
No, Blanc!
Cricket. The Blanc.
Yeah, so
funny
that
story.
That was the whole Nolan the liar.
Blanc is a mountain, and Blanc is white. So actually, his name is White Mountain.
Ooh. Did Jimmy not join? And not
He's not on Discord yet. He's hopefully working on it.
Okay, so Nolan the Liar, that whole story was very symbolic too, because this guy was called a liar and a dreamer and all this type of stuff, and executed because he was believed to have lied, and that kind of ruined his reputation for generations to come of his family. So his
400 years
descendant is trying to like correct that by actually finding this like mountain of gold that he's looking for. A mountain of gold that is supposed to be in the right eye of the skull, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now this is what I'm thinking, okay? If you look at the map of Jaya, it's like two lizards or something. And it appears like there's like a lake in each of their eyes. So I wonder if the left lizard's eye, which is his right eye, is hiding that golden mountain.
Ooh. So Nolan, his final words, he says, it must have sank to the bottom of the sea.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's in that eye, if it sank within that eye.
He has a map, boys. Geography is everything.
Yeah, so that was something that I was thinking about, because I feel like we're definitely going to have to find that treasure eventually. They can't tease us like that.
Mm-hmm.
Although they've been teasing us for the One Piece, apparently, for 25 years. So
this is true. And if you recall, in Nolan's log, he mentions when he first arrived on Jaya, he heard the sound of this magnificent gold bell. Golden bell.
How did he know the sound of gold? This is the question. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, and then they found like some remnants of like golden objects under the sea that might have been part of like a much bigger statue thing, but they're not sure. So yeah, they're definitely teasing us a lot about that whole idea.
The beauty of Jaya and Skypiea is how enclosed of a story it is. It's like it's all of One Piece in like its little microcosm, because I mean it's its own enclosed adventure. Like as opposed to the adventure of all of One Piece, looking for the actual One Piece, traversing the Grand Line. Here they're looking for Skypiea as like an end game point, aside from just a piece of the puzzle. So I love the Jaya and Skypiea arc for that reason, because it's this tiny little enclosed full story.
Well, I mean, you could say that Alabasta has its own story as well, right?
About dreams, man. One Piece is about dreams. So
yes,
push aside that piece of crap Bellamy for disagreeing with them.
You love Bellamy, apparently.
Also, something very much worth mentioning. It's pretty small at this point, but we find out that Sanji's actually
the Grand Line.
We find out that Sanji's actually from the North Blue, not the East Blue, which everyone else is from.
Yes, and we find that out because Nolan the Liar is a myth or fairy tale from the North Blue, and Sanji is familiar with it, but he did grow up in the East Blue, so that's probably going to end up being relevant.
Yes, and so this is not a spoiler. I'm allowed to say this. If you look at the map of One Piece, it's impossible to go from the North Blue to the East Blue without traversing Reverse Mountain or crossing the Red Line. And if you go back to when they first went through Reverse Mountain, and Zoro says that's impossible, and then Sanji in the back says no, it's not. I mentioned it in that episode. I just wanted to point it out as it being something he said, because at this point we realize Sanji probably did this already when he was really young.
Yeah, it's somehow
at some point. That's
yeah.
I'll leave it there.
That is a good point. I didn't think of the fact that you would have to cross it to get from one to the other. Yeah, unless you take like a airship or something.
Unless Sanji, who's a master of footwork, can fly by flapping his feet. No spoilers here.
That's ridiculous, Nux.
That's crazy.
Another thing that happened was Ace randomly just wandered onto Buggy's ship.
Dude, isn't Buggy a freaking awesome individual?
Not really, man. Ace looks cool, but Buggy. Anyway, Buggy was like, first they were like, yo, let's kill this dude. And Buggy's like, bro, you don't mess with like Whitebeard's pirates. Like, I've met Whitebeard on the high seas. We can't harm this dude. So I thought that was pretty cool. It kind of establishes the reputation of Whitebeard and his pirates even further in an indirect way by saying it's like, you do not mess with Whitebeard's pirates.
More importantly, it establishes Buggy D. Clown as an absolute goat because he's met Whitebeard before. I don't know.
He doesn't have D in his name, does he?
Anyone could have D in their name. Carl D. Uck, Buggy D. Clown.
No, shut up. No. From what Robin said, I feel like the D is actually significant. It's not just your meme.
Memes. You're spoiling the fact that D, this legendary name that only some people have, is actually significant.
Yeah, it's not like
well, actually, Nico Robin spoiled that,
or Nico Robin, or
bro. Did you ever think of foreshadowing as just spoilers in disguise?
Yes. The World Government Five Elders
memes are significant.
The World Government Five Elders thing was pretty interesting because I guess they're the main leaders of the entire world, right? And then everyone else is below them.
Well, some people, like pirates, for example, don't seem to give a crap about what they have to say.
But the warlords and the marines are controlled by the Five Elders.
Oh, it does seem. So it does seem. I mean, look at Crocodile. He did a great job being supported by the world government, trying to take over a nation like that. What a mad lad.
And the reason he wanted to take over the nation was so he could take over the world government, pretty much, or defend himself against it.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
The man was going for Pluton.
The Five Elders didn't seem that impressive to me, as opposed to some of the other characters introduced, like Doflamingo, who, again, people were going crazy over the fact that Luffy has $100 million berry bounty, and they just casually revealed that Doflamingo's former bounty was $340 million,
which is insane. But also, people are so.
But the beauty is, can I tell you something else about that bounty that's so gorgeous? Everyone's like flipping out. Wait a second! It was revealed that his bounty is like 340 million or whatever. That's crazy. That's insane. But you have to realize, the world government froze it when he became a warlord.
Yes, it was. That's why it's a former
would be now.
bounty. Yeah, it's a former.
And how long has he been a warlord for? I think they may have mentioned it, but I don't remember. Maybe
I don't know. Mihawk showed up again.
Doesn't Doflamingo show his power in this arc for a second?
He was controlling other people. He was making other people hit themselves.
Right.
Yeah. So I did notice that.
Bro, I love Doflamingo!
Mihawk showed up in this arc, so every time I see Mihawk, I fangirl massively. My boy. Those are two characters that, like, well, I guess Shanks too. Like Shanks, Mihawk, and now Whitebeard. Like, they show up so briefly, and yet you're like, whoa, bruh. Whoa.
Getting into One Piece, that's how you know. That's the first telltale signs when you want to see the little gears in the world turn.
Yep.
Oh,
but
man.
Also, we should probably get back to Jaya.
This is my newspaper.
And what's it called? Obviously, we haven't really talked about Luffy's final moments with Bellamy and why he actually goes to fight Bellamy. Because they had to go into the forest at night, and Bellamy ended up attacking Cricket. And the reason they were in the forest is because they had to search for a bird that points south. Because once you enter the Grand Line, you can really only focus on the log pose. Your senses mean nothing. You can't use a compass. You really wouldn't know how to get to the south, like how to go south.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about Luffy going to kick Bellamy's ass and retrieve the gold?
Yeah, so the thing that happened was, at first, the first fight where Luffy and Zoro let themselves get beat up, it was just about them and their own personal pride, so they were like, whatever, we don't care. But then after the Mont Blanc dude and his...
Mont Blanc.
What is his name?
Cricket.
Mont Blanc.
Cricket. Okay, so let's just call him Cricket. After Cricket and his followers, or whatever the other guys are, welcome them into his hilariously fake house thing. I thought that was hilarious. It's kind of symbolic of fantasy and dreaming and all that stuff. And after all that happens, and they're welcomed, and they show them the treasures that they found and stuff, Bellamy shows up, takes the treasures, humiliates them after all the decades they spend looking for the Golden Mountain and stuff. And that really upsets Luffy, because not only are they trying to crush his dream and mocking him, Now they're doing it to the people that welcome them as friends and who have been working so hard for so many years on this specific thing. So that infuriates him, and he goes, and then Bellamy tries to use his bounce fruit. He's over there bouncing, and Luffy just
doesn't
knocks
try.
him
He
down.
successfully uses the bounce fruit. The Mad Lad is bouncing from building to building.
Stop
He's
defending
increasing
Bellamy, bro.
He's increasing in momentum as I am speaking right now. He is so fast, like a flying bullet. And Luffy slams him down so hard with one beautiful, goddamn gorgeous punch.
You know what's great?
It leaves indentations of his fingers in his skull, at least in the anime.
And in the manga, I'm pretty
The man is gone.
And
the only good thing about Bellamy's Pirates was that one girl with like the beauty mark below her eye.
I love you, Adamak. Although Bellamy, while he's bouncing around, says, "Do you even know how to throw a punch?" And then Luffy says something along the lines, it's like, "Do you want to see me throw a punch?" And that's all he needs, one punch, just to absolutely destroy Bellamy and everything he represents.
One punch! Oh, you have to watch that fight in the anime. It was amazing. Okay, it's a really short fight, as you know, but you have to check it out in the anime.
Yeah, so I was thinking, because people keep telling me, oh, you have to watch this scene in the anime, if you have to watch that scene in the anime. What we should do is once we get through the manga, we can just start doing the anime and milk this podcast for all it's worth, bro.
Hell yeah.
And then we can like compare the anime to the manga, all that good stuff.
Oh, we know that you're just saying this right now so you can get out of watching this Bellamy fight. We see you.
Or what we could do is do like filler episodes where we compile all the best moments into a one big like clip. I could probably do it. And then we all show it to Animac live on Twitch.
Briggs, tell me Bellamy doesn't show up in the future.
No spoiling, boys! No spoiling, boys!
Everyone does. Even if,
dude!
like, I could say that everyone does, because literally everyone does. Even if it's not relevant to Luffy, even if he never sees Luffy again, everyone gets mentioned.
Jones is laughing right now because he's in the Dressrosa arc.
Honestly, Django is a more compelling character at this point than Bellamy.
Oh, Bellamy's a freaking awesome antagonist. Okay.
No, I mean, I like his philosophy, but in terms of like his actual strategy or his actual approach or his strength, it's not impressive. And I like his philosophy in the sense that it's a good contrast, not in the sense that I agree with it, because I clearly don't.
SMH Animac.
SMHU. SMHU.
All right.
In terms of the conclusion of this arc, I thought it was really epic because we see that despite crazy danger, the Straw Hats, they sail through this massive whirlwind and go into the upstream, which is obviously incredibly dangerous and seemingly impossible and all this stuff. And everyone is scared. Like Nami and Usopp are like, what are we doing? Are we insane? Why are we doing this? Let's turn back. But Luffy insists that they must do it. They must go on such a great adventure. It is a dream within a dream. And if they don't do it now, they will regret it. He's like that one friend that's like, guys, let's go jump off the cliff into the lake. And everyone's like, bro, I don't think that's a good idea. We don't know how deep it is. There's rocks. It's like, bro, if we don't do this, we'll regret it for the rest of our lives. It's like, Luffy, bro, you're drunk. You've had 14 beers. Don't do it. It's like, bro, we have to do it, bro. And then he jumps.
That was a great.
This is the man that
Luffy doesn't even drink, does he?
I know he doesn't, but you know, in my cottage country metaphor,
yeah,
the guy was drunk.
Yes, this man, he gets drunk off meat. Mad respect.
Yeah, no, but it's definitely. I mean, it's insane. I completely understand how Nami and Usopp felt because you're like, what the? But you have to respect how insane Luffy is and why he's doing this.
In the chat, someone just said, Bellamy is Kaido's son. Just saw it on Reddit. Man, that would be a twist.
Well, to be fair, everything is pointing that there's an island up there. Like, come on.
No, it's true, but it's such a crazy.
Except for reality, bro. It's everything except for reality. That's what's so great here, man.
The thing about the island, it's like, yeah, it's probably there. Like, there's a lot of evidence that it is, but it's so dangerous and crazy in terms of how to get there that I totally understand, Usopp and Nami being like, what are we doing with ourselves? And it seems insane. Like, it seems like when I was reading this, I'm like, an island with an ocean in the sky? Like, how? What? How? But I mean, you have to go with the flow. You have to accept that the world of One Piece
just
is
said
fantastic.
giant shadows.
Yeah.
Bruh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's something I want to talk about because, okay, so we know that when the island shows up in the sky, it's like a big cloud, so it causes in the middle of the day, it causes things to go dark. But we also saw in like one panel these incredibly gigantic like humanoid figures with spears and wings appear, and like you thought that the Neptunian monsters were huge, but these things were like standing in the ocean and they dwarfed the monsters, not to even mention the ships and stuff. So I have no idea who these people were, if they're people or monsters or whatever. They seem bigger, even bigger than the giants that we've seen. I have no idea what's going on with that, and it wasn't followed up
on. Wonder if Oda will ever clear that up.
Well, I assume so, but I still thought it was very interesting. Especially the winged parts. Like, these guys are clearly too big to fly, bro. Gravity, bro.
This is so amazing. I love seeing Animax perspective and like thoughts on it.
So great. Hell yeah.
But yeah, we pretty much covered everything then. Luffy found a pretty cool beetle. It was an awesome beetle.
Oh yeah, that insect part with the forest. I was just thinking, like, I'm not personally afraid of bugs, but I was thinking if anyone is, that's gonna be pretty gross because they got these giant spiders and bugs and all this stuff. Yeah.
Luffy likes this shit, bro. Luffy's into bugs. Luffy likes everything. All life. He loves life. This is a beautiful man. SMH, people think Deku's superior. Big sad.
Okay, I'm not even gonna get into this conversation. Deku's superior. Deku superior.
This is so sad.
I think we
anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much it. At the end of the day, we met probably more great villains in this one arc than we met in all of My Hero Academia. So we met Blackbeard, we met Doflamingo, we met the world government, we met
Whitebeard,
Bellamy, Whitebeard if he's an antagonist, whatever.
Oh, I didn't realize you said antagonist. My bad.
There was
better antagonists in this Jaya arc. Okay, this like 20 chapter arc, this 15 chapter arc. Better antagonists than all of My Hero Academia. You could quote me on that.
Yeah, well, we'll see, but I do think that My Hero Academia has. I mean,
I'm making fun.
They have All For One, who's interesting. They have Stain, who's interesting, and then now Shigaraki is finally becoming more interesting.
Fine, but I like Shigaraki. I like Stain. I don't like All For One, but anyway.
Well, we need to know more about All For One. Honestly, that is definitely true. I just like his power.
It's the One Piece podcast. I don't give a fuck about
My Hero Academia.
Let's back on topic. Also, sorry, reviews, but also next to Doflamingo, who was standing next to him? Kuma.
We met Sengoku and Kuma also, bro.
This is true.
Yeah, I have no idea who those guys are.
Kuma has a 296 million berry, if I remember correctly.
Yes, so he had almost 300, but like I just remember seeing 340 for Doflamingo, and I was like, bruh.
And also, you got to remember, like 100 is a lot. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Currently in the story, the reason why they all flipped out, like, think about Crocodile was a warlord. He had the power to take over an entire nation, and he was like 80 or just over 70. I don't remember what it was exactly.
No, yeah, I completely see what you mean because people, when they heard that Luffy was 100, they were like, bro, I can make my whole career just by capturing this dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting how they brought this. They didn't go incrementally. It's like, oh, we have a guy who's 150, we have a guy who's 175. They're like, oh no, there's a guy who was like 350, and that's formerly. Who knows how much stronger he is now?
All right, Nux, you ready to hit us with some reviews, or is there anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, hey, Animac, you started uploading your audios to podcast platforms?
Yeah, you know that. I've talked to you about.
I know you actually started. I know you were planning on it.
Yeah, so
how's it going?
In terms of Anime Uproar videos, any video that you want to see, you want to hear in podcast format, you can. Anime Uproar audio is like a podcast thing where you can just listen to all our videos as podcasts. And of course, we have the One Piece version as a podcast. We have Rank Cafe as a podcast. And if you want to watch us live, definitely check out rantcafe.tv or twitch.tv/rantcafe. It's a lot of fun, and we do some chatting before and after, usually the podcast recordings. And so definitely if you want to check us out.
Apex Boys.
Cool. Yeah, and Apex Boys, whatever that is.
And there's Apex Boys.
It's true.
All right, who's ready for some reviews?
Just make sure that they're new.
All right, very cool. Make sure what?
That they're new reviews, not like
now.
Oh, I read this 4 weeks ago. I remember now.
All right, so first review. Very good. New Nux Avatar is too handsome. 5 stars. As someone who attempts at making his friends read One Piece, mostly backfired. This fills One Piece shaped in my soul. Wow. Very cool. Totally no spoilers ever. Not even ironic, but seriously, New Nux art style, kind of hot, makes me uncomfortable, but podcast is perfect. Okay. Next review. 5 flexed stars. 5 stars. Nux and Briggs! And the almighty virgin himself, Animac, which he spells with a K, but then writes in brackets with a C.
I like that.
You boys make my Wednesday... What?
I like that
Okay. Spells with a K, ends with a C. Very cool.
Yeah. Makes you think.
You boys make my Wednesday morning every week. Although it's 200 plus chapters in, I don't know if I'd call that virgin. Maybe it's now the One Piece prude. Sending One Piece love from Scotland. Love listening to you and rereading One Piece with the boys. This podcast is top 10 best anime of all time. Very cool.
Thank you, Butt Nux. By the way, what's the name? You got to read the names too.
That was by T. Pock.
He said he's from Scotland, so I think you should do the whole thing again in a Scottish accent.
Problem. All right. 5 flexed stars. 5 stars. Nux and Briggs! And the almighty virgin himself, Animac, with a C. You boys make my Wednesday morning every week. Although it's 200 plus chapters, and I don't know if I'd call that a virgin. Maybe it's now the One Piece prude. Sending One Piece love from Scotland. And love listening and rereading One Piece with the boys. P.S. This podcast is the top 10 best anime of all time.
Nice.
That sounded like the sea captain from The Simpsons, but okay.
I'll take that as a compliment. All right. Next review. Best podcast quarantine time. 5 stars. Since coming home from school, I moved my school stuff to the attic and have a chill hangout spot. Listening to this podcast makes dealing with my siblings so much better. I'm the only one that likes anime and always get caught up with the Nux and Briggs and can't wait for y'all to get to the Mihawk Sanji fight, bro. It's fire. It's fire. Anyway, but that's in a while. Next
Rest
review.
In peace, Mihawk.
Fuck you
so
both.
sad.
No, fuck you both.
One Piece Virgin Rap. Yo, streaming. Don't give it up, Animax streaming. Don't give it up, Nuxie streaming. Don't give it up, Brigo streaming. Don't give it up. Give it up. Here's how the story goes. We find out about a manga in Shonen Jump. There's no doubt the virgin whose eyes is on it, he'll sing. I'll be king of the virgins. I'm gonna be king. Yo. Ho. His name is Animac. That's coming up backward. No, I'm reading. I think I got the tune wrong. His name is Animac. That's coming up backwards. Gonna be king of the virgins. He's a man of culture. How did that happen? Yo ho. He thinks Kira's wife's hot.
Oh, you guys make the best reviews.
Yo. His name's Nuxie Boy, and he's the meme lord. And a CHAD Brigo's not shy. What? Jimmy's doing wholesome thing, teching. I don't know. I don't know how the tune goes. I didn't listen to the rap enough. He's doing wholesome things, Tekken's knowing. Lost pauses chuckling. Yo. Read some One Piece. It's the name of the manga in Shonen Jump. Yo, Animax a virgin.
Dude. What is the name of this absolute
NTL 104 life? And if this guy's not getting a free shirt, I'm unsubscribing, Anime.
Yeah, no, you would be right to do it. Free shirt for sure. hit me up at Anime Opera on Twitter. We'll make it happen because the Kira's wife line is where you really stole my heart. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nux.
My pleasure. I'm here to brighten things up, spoil some shiz, and kick some butts. You know how it is. Moving on! Missing this podcast is Muda! 5 stars. Oh my god! I love the wildly entertaining trio of Animac with a C from Anime Uproar, Lord D. Brigo, and Nux Taku, where the X is silent. The absolute mad lads of the sea. Watching Nux and Briggs, the Apex Boys. Whoosh, spoilers right over Animac's head is hilarious. Man, we did so many of those whoosh spoilers in this episode, Brigo. Feels so good.
Shut up, Gil.
You'll never
first
know.
20 minutes of this podcast, we went fucking hard.
I don't know because now I feel like out of the loop. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're the virgin. Eventually, we'll be in the loop.
You're a virgin. And then you'll get to rewatch this whole podcast after you become a whore. And then you can be like, oh, that's what they meant. Yeah.
Oh,
The
Bellamy
conversation's
does come
never
back.
dull. The conversation's never dull, especially since Nux's energy is usually over 9,000. This podcast inspired me to finally start reading One Piece, and I'm already up to chapter 600. To anyone reading this, definitely catch them live on Twitch, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for loads and laughs. You won't find a better nakama anywhere in Zawardo! I also heard the mention of t-shirts, wink wink, PS, Brazudo. Top notch, Deku is the worst per tag. Y'all need to try some gun ramen.
To be fair, I don't think Deku is the worst protagonist, but definitely Nux made great, valid points in his Deku video.
Oh, I think that I made very valid points, and Deku's the worst mainstream shonen protagonist of all time.
The point is, you received the death threat.
But anyway, moving on. Congrats on hitting this milestone, 5 stars. Animec, you are ready to enter chapters. And obviously you don't know this, but you have seen nothing. I mean, all the chapters of nothing happened. Someone actually simping after Sanji, Nami's pocket dimension inside her cleavage, and that's the tip of the iceberg. I have no idea what this guy said. Anyway, thank you, very cool. Moving on. This is a good thing.
Pretty
5
epic
stars.
reviews for sure.
Yeah. Oh God, it says read full review.
Oh,
it's not so much. We're all good. This is a good thing, 5 stars. Cons! Animac with a C complains about being interrupted more than my ex-girlfriend. Nux and Briggs flirting with spoilers. Pros! Nux and Briggs! That's 1. 2. I enjoy hearing Animac with a C's arc by arc breakdown of the story. Finally, respect for Team Nami. However, I will never betray Vivi. Also, how the hell are you not going to have him read the Food War Sanji story now that he is introduced?
Food Wars Sanji story.
So
there actually is a
Food Wars does a spin-off episode of Shokugeki no Sanji.
Shut up.
Yeah, he actually does. It's great.
Yeah, he does. It's great.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So does
Animac with
Sanji
a
just
C
get
is
laid?
the next review.
At this point, I just want to see Sanji getting laid.
Bro, Sanji, he's such a beautiful man. Dad, can't believe he died. Animac with a C, 5 stars. Make sure Animac with a C doesn't get spoiled for when in the Thriller Cake Archipelago Lily arc when Alvito becomes a Straw Hat. P.S. I don't need a shirt because my power level I can only wear tank tops. P.P.S. Zoro, how did you get here? Well, I guess it's because he's lost and no one understands him. P.P.P.S. Luffy canonically can inflate his family jewels.
Yes, he can.
Wow.
It's confirmed in the question corner.
I love that.
It's confirmed in the actual canon. Like, they talk about this stuff. You think they're not going to talk about something so important? Next review, One Piece hype, 5 stars, just 2 words. Hee-haw! Thank you, very cool. Next review.
Excellent.
Legendary Status Podcast, ahoy, 5 stars, absolute funniest podcast in Zawardo! I love the bountiful content of nostalgia in each episode, and I'm always excited for the next one. Also, best wife who can't be declared until Giant Fish Whammon and Armor Barbarian Whammon are introduced post time skip. Yeah, right.
I think we should call it a day for reviews and continue next week.
All right,
yeah,
that's enough reviews.
Well, guess where we're going to be going next week? as Luffy said, the sky.
Either we're gonna go to Skypiea, or the boat is gonna crash to the ground and everyone's dead.
Oh, did I just spoil the fact that our main characters don't die? Whoops.
I know. I mean,
big bad.
that would be a pretty big flex. It's like they all die in chapter 236, and then the next main character is like Blackbeard's pirates. They're the
It was
the new
Bellamy all
protagonist.
along.
Oh no, not Bellamy. Fuck that. I'm not reading 700 more chapters of Bellamy as the main character.
Well, in any case,
cool. Thank you guys for joining us
next
for
week,
another episode.
tune in, and you guys better keep up. We're going from 237 until 260, not including 260.
Yeah, so 259, but whatever now, because I know you're getting confused with this. It's gonna be fun.
Life is real. We're adventuring into the sky.
Hopefully, they don't crash to the bottom of the ocean.
Hopefully, they don't crash.
Thank you guys for joining us, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang!